Good morning, Vietnam! On this Monday evening, welcome everyone out there. Welcome to race 6 of the 3rd season of the Redline Racing community. And here we go to Hanoi. Tonight, the 6th race, we will be a little bit short-handed. We already had the information of a handful of drivers that they will not be able to join us, and some new updates today, this afternoon, haven't made it much easier for one or two of our drivers, but okay, we will make the best out of it. Right at the moment we stand at 13 drivers. There should be one or two more, I think and hope. First of all, let's have a look how we're racing here tonight. We will see a 18 minutes qualifying followed by a 50% race distance. That is something around, I think, 27-28 laps, approximately. Equal car performances, safety car VSC is on, full damage. That is a big issue in Hanoi. Dynamic weather, strict corner cutting, that will not be the biggest problem as there is hardly any turn you can cut. And manual race start, of course, the set of assists, maximally medium traction control, pit assist is on, and manual gearbox and all that stuff. So our host for tonight is Optics. There he is. Welcome back to the RRC after a few weeks of break. Mr. Optics is back with us. Let's have a look at our lobby. Who's in beside our host? We see our Lewis Hamilton, Andrew Mond, one of the reserves, Blake Gary, Fatih, Superstig, Remo, Turamba, Krovi is one of our reserves. Likewise to Tentoon Stelling and Deroy. That's me. Hello. Yeah, and about the track, there's actually not that much to talk about the track. This is actually the only track that has more or less only been raced in virtual worlds. There has never ever been a real Vietnam Grand Prix, and as things stand, this will not change in this year, so it looks like Portimao will take the spot of Hanoi. As far as I know, what I read, there might be some chance to reopen a possible Vietnam Grand Prix in 2022. Yeah, and there's some chatter in the background about when to start, how to start, where to start and all that. And until we turn to the track, I will step aside for a moment. And off we go to Vietnam. You can see the pictures of the big city, big metropole, and we will be guest in the Nam Tu Liem district with this 5.6 kilometers new track, totally new, brand new, but it is a street circuit, so it will be green. In the beginning, I think we have 13 drivers with us. 13, sadly, not a big amount, not the amount that we wanted to have. One driver told us that he's a little bit late. I hope that number 14 will be able to join us in the ongoing qualifying. So, and the first one to go out is actually not Optics, that was someone else. Krovi. Here we go. In the AlphaTauri, and a little bit of a tradition from me is to go out with the first one who's on a hot lap or an out lap, to get you a bit of information about the track and to get a little bit of feeling of the track, and in Hanoi especially to see who has trained, who has practiced this track the best. I admit I can understand some drivers who say they are just not interested in learning this track and driving this track, as it's going to be off the game anyway as soon as the new game is out, and it is probably the most unpopular track ever. So it's unrhythmic. You cannot commit the mistake. You can see how close the walls are. The slightest mistake will cost you an end plate or winglet. But okay, this is still a league race, so you are part of a league and everyone depends on you to join, and if you want to have some long-term chance to be successful, you actually need to be with us. And okay, so let's just focus on what's going on and hope that we will have some more people, some better participation next week. We are now on the TV pod of Optics, who has almost lost it on the long right hander. Here we have two long turns, long bows. This was the first one running around a circle, then the first DRS zone of the track, a medium long straight and a 90-degree combination. This is the second long turn, very unrhythmic, very hard to find the right place to put the pedal to the metal, and this is the big and long back straight. The DRS zone begins right here, right under the yellow bridge, and goes until the hairpin that's coming up right here. Very clean, this hairpin for Optics, and then we turn into the unrhythmic last sector. So a lot of fast turns, left, right, a bit of a feeling like in Austin, Texas, just with walls very close. Left hand side here is pit entry, then two left-handers, and that's it. The extremist now has joined, so this was the guy we wanted to try and wait. And the first hot lap is in by RRC Optics, a 135.9. But that's not the pole, because the pole for the moment belongs to Netcrack, who was just 1/10 of a second faster than Optics. And now Turamba, wow, has blasted everything. Turamba, who is 2 seconds faster than the pole setter we had before. Lewis Hamilton was already on a good lap, likewise, he was a second faster than Ned Craig, but Turamba blasted that once again. So, as sadly we do not have the biggest amount of drivers, let's just focus on the main important thing here. In our RRC Monday Night Racing, every driver gets points granted, everyone who finishes, and that means collecting points over the long season is very, very important. Even if you've just finished, I don't know, in P12 or P14 or something, you will still get points granted. And the top 3 runners of our championship standings are all with us tonight. So those 3 we have to focus on, and that is the pole sitter at the moment. Turamba is leading with 87 points. Just 2 points behind him is Fatih, who is in 8 right now, and then we see Lewis Hamilton, who is in 3rd place with 79 points, so just 8 points behind Turam. So the top 3 are within 8 points. That's nothing. That's really not real a gap. Very close still at the beginning of the season, still in the first quarter of the season. And then in 4th, Jonathan Cox, who sadly misses this event today. That means this will be, a disadvantage. This will be a bummer for his championship run. So at the moment there is maybe Tantun on a hot lap. Let's have a look what he's doing in the second racing point. He is trying on mediums. First hot laps was a mediums, but was a not really competitive time. Let's see what time will stop for him at the end of sector 2. If he's on a second hot lap or just on a quicker in lap. Yeah, looks slow and is slow, so he will just return to the pits. So for the moment, let's have a look at the extremist. He was the one we were waiting on, who we were waiting for, but he is very slow here too. I don't know if he is still on his outlap. Time is running for him, but I can hardly imagine that the time's correct, or that he really is on a hot lap. Here we are with him in his Renault. It seems like he's a magician. I do not see hands on the steering wheel. So maybe he's just... yeah, he's definitely steering with his knees. So that's the reason why he isn't on hot lap right now. Here is Krovi. Let's have a look what he's doing. Time is under 10 minutes, so still enough time for everyone to get something going. No pressure yet on anyone. Krovi is lagging, it seems. And right behind him in the Red Bull Deroy, still no time set for him. You can see there is some drivers in front of him, Blake Gary and Andrew Mont, who are on an outlap. This was Andrew Mont. Blake Gary is on an outlap too, so he should just let him pass very soon, hopefully. But the good spots where to let someone through are already gone. This will be difficult now for Gary. This does cost Deroy some time. That's a bit sad, and now they crashed even. Nope, that is not how you should behave in the qualifying. And Deroy already missed the pit entry, so he will have to have another lap with a damaged front wing. This does not look good right now, but still enough time for him and for Blake Gary. So let's have a look what the Extremist is doing, if he's finally on a hot lap. Yes, that looks good. He bumped into the wall here in the end, but still this is a fifth best time for today. 1.7 seconds behind our pole setter. Did not damage his nose. Okay, so he probably hit the wall with his tire, maybe? Yeah, still no hands for him. So let's have a look. What is Blake Gary doing? The one who ruined Deroy's lap there just a little bit earlier. Blake Gary and Grimo in 8th, his teammate. Gary improved himself by 6/10, but did not really get him a position in his advantage. Krovi obviously having some connection issues here. Yeah, Gary and Grimo, the so-called A-team. Those two guys very familiar with each other. Let's have a look, as we are already speaking about the A-team. Here is Grimo, but he is slow and now meeting his teammate behind him, so Grimo is not on a hot lap. What is Fatih doing? He is still in P9, but that just came off because of the fact that he tried his first hot lap on mediums. Now he opted for the red color that fits his Ferrari a lot better. Let's see what he'll do in his second hot lap, taking the curbs here very aggressively. So, full engine power, rich engine mode, maximum EIS here on the long straight. DRS is opened, of course. He takes the hairpin very tightly, almost a bit cautious, I would like to say. At the end of sector 2, he is improving himself by 1.1 second. The minimap has flashed in purple color. That means that this was the fastest ever posted intermediate sector. The intermediate sector is the high speed sector. That could mean that his Ferrari is set up a bit more towards high speed, and in the end he is in P2. Second position for Fatih, our reigning champion from season 2. So the overall standings now depicted in the quali tableau here likewise. First one is Turamba, second Fatih, third Lewis Hamilton. Then, yeah, quite a gap. So the top three are within 1 second. Everyone else is in parts very far behind, I would like to say. Everyone in the pits now except Turam and Fatih. Turam, he is ruled on a hard lap, so let's have a look what he is doing before the big hectic is going to break out. First one to leave the pits, Netcrack. End of sector 2, Turam is improving himself by 2.5 tenths. Middle sector flashes purple again, so he has now posted the fastest ever lap time in sector 2. It looks very tidily how he takes these unrhythmic turns in the last sector. Last turn for him, the air has opened and new pole time, Turamba, and everyone else is 1 second or more behind him. Wow. That means that Turam is finished for the qualifying. He will not be able to come back, get some fresh tires and then run again. But with 1 second of gap to the next, I think he doesn't necessarily have to go again. The pressure is now on Fatih and Lewis Hamilton to counter that. Fatih, if he wants to run, he needs to be on the way. Nope, Fatih is finished too. So P1, P2 are finished. All eyes on Hamilton, Optics and Superstea. And as they are all on an outlap still, let's have a look what the Extremist is doing. Well, 3.5 minutes. That's not a competitive time, of course. Netcrack, he has invalidated his hot lap. He ran over some curbs a bit too aggressively, I think. Satsanpat in the pits. Outlap for Grimo. Outlap is finished. Hot lap now for Grimo. His teammate of the A team, Gary, is in the pits, so he will not be able to improve himself any further. Grimo not improving himself, so let's have a look at our front runners. What is Superstea doing? No, first, all eyes on Optics as he's a little bit further on the track. He is 4 thousandths compared to his formerly posted time, and Superstea is very closely matching his first hot lap too. What is Lewis Hamilton doing? He has just started his hot lap. Where will the time stop for him at the end of sector 1? 42 thousandths of a tenth his improvement. All eyes now on Optics first. He's the next one to end the sector 2, and then Lewis Hamilton is right behind him. Optics barely improving, but really just barely, and Hamilton. And now Superstea was right behind him. So Superstea and Optics already in the last sector. Optics, I think, will finish the lap just shortly before Superstea will. Last 2 turns here for Optics, and then he will be in position number 4. He will stay where he is. Superstea did not improve. And what is Lewis Hamilton doing? He has found 3/10, but that is not enough to attack Fatih. Extremist has pushed into 4th. Extremist in second starting row But will Hamilton be in second or third? Hamilton in P2. Lewis Hamilton in the front row, the only one who was able to stay within a second of Turamba. Yeah, and the good thing about having not so many drivers is the fact that the session is over very fast and that we don't have to scroll to show you the final result. Turamba in the pole, just next to Lewis Hamilton in the front row, then Fatih and the Extremist. 5th goes for Optics, 6 Superstea, 7 Grimo, 8 Nat Craig, number 9 is Andrew Mont, 10 Satzanpat, P11 and free tire option for Gary, 12 Krobi, 13 Tentun and 14 De Roy with a plus 5 seconds, plus 5 position penalty, but of course he will not be ranked back to 19th. So, first view here in the pit lane always goes out to the weather. That looks kind of fair, I would like to call it. So, no rainy weather for the start, and our drivers have half a minute left, and I will be back with you shortly. So, off we go in our installation lap. 28 laps, the race distance. Let's have a look about the tires. Aha, the top 10 have to start on the tires that they have qualified on, while we see the tire strategy presented by the Amazon Web Services. And yeah, top 10 on softs as they have to be. And from P11 on, everyone opted to start on mediums, so a bit more flexibility for them in the rest of the strategy, for the rest of the race. Turamba seems like he is rather flying and rushing through his installation lap. So the last one has just barely started the long straight, and in the real life that would be disadvantage for him on the starting position in his starting box, as his engine could start heating a little bit. But in virtual worlds, of course, we do not have these problems. Here we sit on his shoulder for the moment. One little thing, let's find out. And oh, Extremist has found his hands. So this will not be our running gag for the rest of the evening. Optics, as soon as we are in the race, Extremist does not steer with his knees. He now uses his hands. So one last look through the field as we still have a bit of time. And then in just a few moments we will find out who of our Redline Racing drivers will be able to cope the best with this really difficult track, this unknown track, this unrhythmic track, this track where you just cannot commit a mistake without running into some concrete. And the red lights, I can't see them, but I can hear them. And the race is started. Hanoi, off we go. Good start from Turamba. No one near him in the first turn. Behind him, the guys have to run wide a little bit, but the track allows it in turn 1. Rather smooth start, and right when I said it, it was, who was it? Some Williams losing a front wing, or at least some parts of it. We see Andrew Mond running a bit slow, it seems. Yellow in sector 2, as there was a Ferrari. This is Fatih. Oh no, Fatih has spun, but the nose is intact, so no pit stop needed. But this makes him, of course, a big loser of the start with a -11. The reigning champion and the one who is still still trying to defend his championship. We see some up and down here. After the hairpin, Krovi versus Deroy. Krovi, oh, there's a lot of stuff missing on his front wing, so he will be the first one who will need a pit stop. I thought there was a Williams who has a damaged nose. Yes, Sotson part is it. Sotson part with some parts of his front wing. Attack here on the inside from that crack very aggressively, and there he lost it, and Gary crashed into him. Just too aggressive from Netcrack. So we see a few drivers who are with damaged noses, and the biggest bad luck situation for Netcrack, as he needs to run one whole lap with this damaged front wing. We see Krovi in the pits. Had to catch a new nose. Let's have a look about the tires. He opted for fresh softs. He's a bit jumpy, so he does have some internet issues. We saw that in the quali, and we see it right here. Krovi for the moment is steered by the CPU. I hope he will be able to return shortly. And here we are with our leader, that's Turamba. Leader in the race, leader in the overall standings. He has just shaken off one of his main contenders, that's Fatih. But Fatih is still in the race, and he will make some decent points here tonight. He just needs to finish. Let's just see how many points he will acquire. And I see a little bit of damage on Turamba's front wing. There is on the right hand side an end plate missing. Still, he has posted the fastest lap of the race, at least for the moment. He was running away by over 2.5 seconds from Hamilton, but Hamilton will probably close this gap now, as long as he can keep his nose tidy and clean. Let's have a look at the car of Extremis. There's an end plate missing too, and he's attacked here by Optics and overtaken. First DRS attack has not only been an attack, has already been an overtake. So Optics for the moment has stepped onto the podium, but this will change still a lot of times, I expect. And now Deroy, Netcrack and Blake Gary finally made it once around the track to get some fresh noses. Extremist in the S zone against Optics, countering and overtaking, wheel to wheel in the hairpin. Oh, can he stay next to him? Next turn would be in his favor. He pushes ahead a little bit. Next turn, this one is in his favor. Bit of a dodge, he's still there, and now it's getting difficult, and they crashed. In these turns, you cannot run next to each other. No chance in this part to go fighting against each other, and Extremist and Optics found out that it is really impossible to do so. Just no one of them wanted to lift off the acceleration pedal. No one wanted to be the one who loses a position. And Extremist picked up a plus 5 seconds on the pit entry here. Let's stay with those two guys who just fought it out. Sotsanpart, Super Stee in the pits likewise, so we will probably see a lot of new noses. Here we go, new nose, fresh, what is it? Yellow, I think. Fresh medium tires for him. Yes, Optics fresh mediums likewise. So they finished. They will leave the pit lane in the same order as they came in. And all of that made Fatih go back into 4th again. So here they come out of the pits, just barely ahead of Deroy and the still disconnected Krovi. Netcrack, is that a white? Yes, Netcrack running on hards. Netcrack running on hards, let's see how long he can make them go. So the number one vision we will have for this race will always be, is the nose that they are wearing still tidy enough, or might they lose some time with a damaged aerodynamic system? Extremist might be under attack right now from Deroy from behind, who's running on faster softs, fresh softs. Wow, no! What is he doing? That's sad. Deroy wanted to overtake him, wanted to push back into the racing line, but Extremist was still there. Extremist was still next to him, and so he pushed him into the wall. So Extremist will maybe just have to come in and get the next nose. And Deroy probably too. Yes. Both drivers in need of a new nose. Extremist is... Oh no, Extremist went through. He refused to get himself a new nose right again. Let's see how good he can... how good he's able to run on this nose. So actually you could just... yeah, you just have to use one different tire color and then you can just finish the race on softs and change to fresh softs whenever you need a new nose. That could be the idea of some of our drivers here tonight. So, what's going on in the front? We see Turamba, who is still running with his slightly damaged nose, but he's doing it actually very well. Lewis Hamilton was unable to really get closer, even though his nose is still intact. I expected Hamilton to be able to push ahead a little bit, but he didn't. Still very stable gap of 2.5 seconds. And then we see, have a look, Grimo in P3. Grimo is able to stay ahead of Fatih. He's far behind, whoa, far behind Hamilton, who almost lost his car here on acceleration. I think he touched the barrier on the rear wheel, but that did not inflict some damage to his car. Just lost almost 2 seconds on Turamba, but the car is still intact. So this is now maybe the little bit of gap that Turamba needs to stay ahead, even though changing the nose then later in a few laps. Yeah, I wanted to speak about the A team. Grimo in third, who was 10 seconds away from Hamilton, now made up a little bit of ground after Hamilton's almost mistake. And Grimo, Mark Goodman, his real name, is still in front of Fatih, but if you consider the development of the gap to Fatih, it's obvious that Fatih is slowly but steadily coming closer to the Alfa Romeo, and then in a few laps I am interested what's gonna happen then. Here is Hamilton in. It's rather early after just 5 laps on his softs. I expected him to run longer on this set. No, just fresh tires for him. Interesting. Didn't expect a clean soft runner to pit that early. Clean. And speaking about nose damages, here is Andrew Mont in likewise. So he has pitted very early too. No new nose for him either, just fresh mediums. Interesting. And that gives Grimo P2, and I jinxed it because there we see Fatih in the DRS window of Grimo ahead. Now I'm interested what Grimo will do. Will he battle for his position against Fatih, the reigning champion? Or will he just let him pass to focus on his own race and try to fight for a podium against... Ooh, almost the next acceleration troubles here, this time from Fatih. Very aggressively taking the curbs here. Let's stay with our champion here for this unrhythmic last sector, especially with heavy cars. It's even more hard to go through these turns, but that doesn't matter now anymore as Fatih is in. So we see a lot of early stops. I expected the softs to run a little bit longer than just 6-7 laps. Fatih has opted for hards. Interesting. Different tire strategies here. So Fatih might maybe try to run through on this set of tire. Maybe. Oof. Oh no. And right when accelerating on his cold parts, he lost an end plate of his front wing. That's really bad luck and stupid. He's gonna be angry now because he only has one set of hearts, and this one set he now wasted. And if he wants to run through, he needs to run through on a damaged nose, and I think that is probably impossible for him. Let's just follow him and try and see what he's going to do. I suppose he will just try how evil the damage is and then decide whether to run long or just finish the race with 2 sets of mediums or something like that. Especially in the last sector, he will now be struggling a lot. We have seen Gary and Extremists who just pitted. I hope there has not been any issues in the back of the field that we could not depict. He looks very cautious here. His pit entry, he does not come in, so he will try to run on this as long as possible. And Grimo, here is Grimo in the pits. Serve the penalty, no new nose. Turamba already out. A little bit of slide for him here. He is running fresh hards too. So he will try to finish the race. Maybe from now on, just 20 laps remaining. Let's see if the Hearts can survive so long. All that makes Hamilton the new leader. 3.8 seconds ahead. Interesting, because Turamba was the leader before Hamilton, so that means the undercut, these 2 laps Hamilton pitted earlier, gave him a gap of 4 seconds, plus the fact that Turam needed a new nose, so all that combined now gives Hamilton a lead of 4 seconds, and that will increase a little bit probably because of the faster tire Hamilton is on. So this will be the big battle strategy wise between those 2 drivers. And Gary, I know Gary has left the session. Gary left the session. He did not retire. He's still running. His car is still there. Let's just see if he is in some connection troubles or if he will retire eventually. Extremist was in the pits again. You can see the mediums with 0 laps. So let's have a look about the pit stops. Gary had 3, Extremist 2, and still running without a pit stop is Tantoon. On his mediums, so they can run that long. Yes, they can. Yeah, we did not have the biggest starting grid, but we do not have a DNF yet. So still everyone with us here tonight. Ooh, Extremist, did he touch the wall again? Ah, he's very cautiously here in the last turn, staying away from the wall and the concrete as far as he can. Position change here between Fatih and Tantoon. Fatih, who already has a damaged front wing, cannot risk too much. Tantoon, on the other hand, is running still on the set from the start, so he will have to change these tires within maybe the next 3, 4, maybe 5 laps. And he does right away. Doesn't even have to wait for another 3, 4, 5 laps. Fatih overtook him here right away. And is now back on the podium. Fatih in 3rd, trailing Turamba 2nd and Hamilton in 1st position. Garimo on a good 4th position. It seems like he is in something like a errorless race thus far. I cross my fingers for him that he can bring home this good result. Just like I do for everyone. We see Optics. Optics here close to Super Steve in the DRS zone. DRS wing, DRS is activated. Super Steve defending wheel to wheel into turn 3, and Super Steve defended himself, at least for the moment. This long, ugly left-hander both went through rather smoothly. And Optics here in the slipstream, left or right. He now decided for left, so he can attack him in the hairpin. Wheel to wheel. Optics is ahead for the moment. And he stays ahead. Super Steel brake too late, and that was a big mistake. Sotson part pushed through likewise. So he lost 2 positions in this one hairpin. And Fatih in the pits. Here he is again. Didn't take too long, just 3 laps on his hards until he opted to get himself a new nose and fresh mediums. So let's have a look. Let's stay with him for a moment. I hope that he will not throw the end plate away just when accelerating here at the end of the pit lane. Sliding a little bit on his rear tires, but more cautiously this time. And he comes out right behind Tantoon. Tantoon Stelling, who is running on a PS5, by the way. Congratulations in winning the lottery. And Tantoon is on fresh hearts. So he was in the pits just last lap, like, ooh, is Fati very close here. And Fati probably will attack Tantoon as soon as the DRS zone starts. That is right here. DRS is opened. Tantoon defending himself, but have a look, no chance, no chance. Fati just cruised by him very smoothly. And now I suppose that Fati will be able to run away, to push ahead from Tantoon, as he is on the faster medium tire. As long as no one of those two guys throw it away here in this unrhythmic third sector. Didn't I say it? Tantoon touched the barrier and lost an end plate. He lost an end plate, so same situation for him now as it was for Fati just a few laps earlier. He's running on hards. He should run long on this set, but cannot run long because he'll need a Nuno soon. So, there's action going on. We see Andrew Mont, who is chasing Super Steve here over the track, over the long main straight, or back straight actually. DRS is opened up and left to right, left. Super Steve aggressively defending. One aggressive left notch of Super Steve, and Andrew Mont didn't dare to attack him anymore. Oh, and Super Steve lost it! He ran into the barrier! He ran into the barrier! Damaged his front wing a lot, and so gifted away his position to Andrew Mont! And behind, who was it? No, it was Fati! What is he doing here? Why is he pitting again? Oi! Super Steve brake very aggressively in front of the pit lane. Fati didn't see it coming. Yeah, well, but Fati had fresh tires, so he had probably a damaged nose anyway, so that was the reason why he was in again. So this is now the, third, fourth stop for Fati? Third stop for Fati. 3 stops, Fati and Gary, then a bunch of 2s. And still a majority at, still at 1 stop. Top 6 are within 1 stop. So at the moment, let's have a look about the penalty situation. Not that much, just as expected, as there isn't much to cut. Plus a handful of plus 3s. And Fati, what is he doing? What is Fati doing? We see yellow in sector 2. Maybe he was overtaking someone illegally and let him pass again. I don't know. Anyway, penalties. +3 for Fati. +3 for Deroy, a double +3 for Grimo, and some +5s, Super D and Netcrack. So not that much. And we are in the second half of the race already, and still no DNF. And on this difficult track, that really speaks for the quality of our Redline racing community. So we see Extremist, who just pitted right in front of Fatih with 5 laps old mediums. I suppose that he will need a new nose here again. Yes, that it is. New nose, fresh softs. So this is his third or fourth stop. Oh, third one, yes, third. Yeah, well, we will still see a lot of stops, I would like to expect. And meanwhile, have a look. Meanwhile, Turamba has posted the next fastest lap of the race and is now within 1.5 seconds of Hamilton. Hamilton still needs to stop. Turamba maybe can go through, probably can go through on his hearts. At least he will try it. And then he would be the leader again. We see a battle here. What's going on between Tantoon and Netcrack? Tantoon on the fresh softs should cruise around Netcrack easily. Did it here and counter, no counter. We learned it already that you cannot attack in these turns. And Netcrack will try to follow him, but will learn very soon that his hearts are too slow against fresh softs, and he shakes the tires off in total now. 13 laps remaining. With 13 laps, I suppose he will try to run through on mediums. No, on softs. Softs plus new nose. So maybe he will just stop again then for Nunos and softs. We will see. Oh, and Turamba is inside the DRS window of Lewis Hamilton. Here we see them. DRS is open. Yes, the Haas is split. Quick look about the front wing situation. Oh, there was someone coming out of the pits right in front of them. That was Netcrack. He's lapped, so not a problem. Went away very fairly. Well done by him. Clean and fair racing. And Turamba will push ahead. Hamilton had DRS too, as he lapped Netcrack just before. So for the little DRS zone, he did not have a disadvantage, but now he has a big disadvantage. Turamba zooming ahead, attacking him here on the left hand side, and just cruises by him so easily. And oh, Hamilton, don't throw it away. 10 laps, his mediums are old, the nose is fresh, tidy and clean. 10 laps without an incident for him, that's good. But he will still have to have a pit stop, he still needs to stop. He probably cannot make his mediums run for another 10 laps here. And Turamba is just running away from him, even though he is driving on the theoretically slower tire. Yes, and then Hamilton has to stop again, so as long as Turamba doesn't throw it away, the winner of today should be clear now. The ghost of Netcrack is trying to relap himself. Bit of a special situation to see here. Ah, yellow insected too. That was the hairpin. Was that Fatih? It was Fatih. Oh, I suppose he was trying to attack Tantoon and then just break too late or something. Nose is still intact, so not the best race for our reigning champion. But he knows that a season can be long, and sometimes these points you gather for 10th position are important too. Fatih in. Oh, and right when I said it. Right when I said how that he knows the importance of these points, he retired. Fatih is out of the race. No points for him. Turamba says thank you. Lewis Hamilton likewise, as those two guys will pull ahead in the championship race. Speaking about Hamilton, here he is in the pits. This one pit stop he still needed to have. Maybe he will try to finish on softs. Nope. Fresh mediums. Yellow to yellow. And then he will leave the pits. He should stay in front of Karimo. Gap was very big. Yes, he does. 5 point something, 7.5 now in front still of Grimo. Gap is still building up again. 9.5 seconds the gap to Grimo now. Oh, yellow somewhere here. What's going on? I think that was the Ferrari of Fatih. We get the information of Blake Gary. He didn't leave because of a lack of motivation. He left because the game crashed. His car is still running, so he is driven by the CPU now. No, not Grimo. Gary, of course. Blake Gary is that. So where is action going on? We see an overtake maneuver. Super Steve and Tantoon, and Andrew Mond isn't too far away either in the McLaren. By Jeopardy, just the day when McLaren revealed their new car, and that looks just like the old one. Just a thin nose like Renault has had. And Monster now against Tantoon. Better acceleration for him. Both should be, yes, both are DRS equipped, so no advantage for anyone. Tantoon searching the slipstream and crashes into the rear of Andrew Mont. Mont somehow got around the hairpin. And Tantoon will need another new nose soon. He's struggling already here, yes, so aerodynamic system is not intact anymore. One turn left and then he will run straight into the pit lane, just as predicted. He overtook Super Steve and Monster now, but not for long. And Grimo, Mark Goodman, battling against Sotson Pat. He lost a position after his pit stop, but Sotson Pat just pitted likewise. Fresh soft for both of them, and ahead is Optics. Optics, who wants to finish the race on a fresh set of hearts. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the battle for the third position on the podium. This is the battle for third. Optics on hearts against two aggressively running Sotson Pat and Grimo. And Optics and Satsanpat fighting. Grimo says thank you and slips through on the inside. And already now attacking Optics. No, he just pulled back in the very last second. And Satsanpat, have a look how close he was. Was able to taste the paint of the Alfa Romeo rearing there. Oh, this will be a great battle for this last third of the race. I just hope and hope, my fingers crossed for all three of them, that they will battle it out and not get disconnected or just ruin the race with running into concrete. Grimo attacking on the outside, Optics still defending, better lane now for Grimo, and with a better grip of his tires he should be through. He is through. And now everyone is DRS equipped except Grimo. Grimo, the DRS bummer here at the moment, but this will change a few times, I would like to say, for the next few laps. Satsanpat was aggressively on the brake, and you can really see Optics struggling on his hards compared to the soft runners. And this is the moment. Grimo needs to take advantage of right this moment, because he can run away. He can accelerate faster than Optics. Optics now will hold up Satsanpat, and this moment Grimo needs to use to get a little bit of gap. And Optics plus 3 seconds on the acceleration. Satsanpat pushed through. This is the lapped car of Blake Gary. And Grimo was unable to capitalize. And did he run into the walls? Did he lose an end plate? No. Front wing still intact for everyone. And the two soft runners has pushed ahead of the hard runner Optics. You can see that he lost some ground already after just 2 laps. He's out of the DRS window, so Optics needs to hope that those two guys here will run into each other and cost themselves positions if he wants to be on the podium in the end. So after the long hairpin here onto the back straight, Satsanpat 7/10 behind Grimo. DRS activation, here we go. He will be able to close up to Grimo. Yeah, just a little bit. Grimo is fast on the straight. Grimo seems to have still some fuel left, and Satsanpat struggling on acceleration, giving Grimo another 7/10 of gap, and that means Satsanpat is out of the DRS window here at the moment. Optics, no chance, 1.7 seconds already behind, so no hopes for him to compete with those two guys. His hards are just so much slower than the soft runners. Yeah, as we can see, Satsanpat 2 seconds away from Grimo. So he's not just out of DRS zone, he is really far away at the moment. And yeah, Grimo, Mr. Goodman, if you don't throw it away, I think this will be some possible champagne for you tonight. Let's have a look at the backfield extremist in the pits again. Will finish his race on a set of softs. Net crack just the same. Needed a fresh nose again. And let's have a look at our leader. Didn't see him a lot here today. Didn't have much camera time, except from something around his pit stop. But that just tells on the other side that he is in a very clean, very good race for him. Almost 19 seconds away from Hamilton. Hamilton then still has a penalty to serve. And there is Andrew Mont rather close to Deroy. Just when we came to him, he picked up another penalty and he needs another pit stop here. He probably will have to have a new nose. And finally, Turambar now picked up a +3 too. No. Ah yeah, there's the new nose from Andrew Mont. Fresh softs for the last 4 laps for him. But he's still in a more or less good position. Maybe someone ahead will need another nose too, so there will be some... There is something to fight for him. And he is in 8 or 9, no, P7 for Andrew Mont after his third pit stop. Yes, third stop. Tantoon just behind him, but on the slower medium tire. I wasn't expecting Tantoon to run on mediums for the end. I expected him to stop for softs when he needed the new nose, but maybe he didn't have a usable set left. Oh, and he is coming closer to Monster here. He was just flying at him and he overtook him very easily if you consider that he had over half a second of gap before the straight. And there is Andrew Mont now back in the DRS window. His fresh softs should give him a pretty good advantage over the medium runner. Still 3 laps plus the rest of this time, so enough time for him. He could wear out Tantoon and then in the last lap, in the last chance of opening up the rear wing, attack him so that there will not be a chance left for Tantoon to overtake, to counter. And there is some yellow ahead. He ran wide in this turn to avoid a collision. Yellow already vanished. It was a grey car, I think. Was it Turambar? No. Can't be. I don't know, maybe Satsanpat has spun or someone else, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter, we do not see a DNF, we did not see a position change, so everything's alright. Oh, and Tantoon committed a mistake here in this ugly long hairpin. Monster on the better acceleration. Let's see who will be DRS equipped on the long straight. And it is Tantoon attacking here on the inside. Where's the breaking point? There it is. Tantoon is through again for the moment. Ah, very nice cut back inside from Monster, but the next turn is in favor of Tantoon. And haha, nice battle between those two guys, leaving a lot of breathing space for each other. That's how quality racing looks like. Wow. Did Tantoon break early or Monster late? I don't know, but they almost kissed each other. And we can easily stay with this battle as Andrew Mont is the only one in a DRS window of someone ahead. And as we probably have finished our tire strategy now, let's have a look at the penalty situation. I will leave this page, this site open. So pick your favorite driver and have a look what the situation is about. Andrew Mon touched the wall. No damage for him. And have a look, the Extremist is coming up. The fight between him and Tantoon was the invitation for Extremist to crawl closer. Here we see him, better acceleration as Monster, both will be DRS equipped with this yellow bridge here. Here we go. Mondi is rather defending himself here than attacking Tantoon. Late break for Extremist. Does it get around the corner? He does. And already attacking Tantoon here. Wow, what a great acceleration from his Renault. And the attack from Monster. No, Monster lost it. Andrew Mond accelerated on the curb and therefore lost his car in turn 13. But no wing damage, so everything's fine for him. But yes, he's out of the battle. He lost the position to Super Steve. He's ghosted now, not because inactive, just because he was lapped by Lewis Hamilton ahead. So we are in the last lap and Turamba, Hamilton, first and second, everything is fine there, +3 on both of them. Then we see Grimo on third. What a great position. Mark Goodman is in, but he will not be given virtual champagne in the end, as he has a +11 seconds penalty. So he will stand on the podium right for 4.5 seconds right until Sotsanpad is over the start-finish line, while we see Hamilton moving a bit left and right here on his damaged front wing. Grimo will be ranked back into 4th. I guess Sotsanpad then will be our third podium finisher. Optics with a P5, rather good if you compare how he struggled in the early racing phase. And Monster now finally got at least one position back, as we've seen Super C running wide in the hairpin. And here we see Turamba in his final 2 turns. Turamba in the Haas has brought it home more or less easily, cruises to the victory in Hanoi. In second then, with a damaged front wing, Lewis Hamilton. Good race from him likewise. Here it is, P2 for Lewis Hamilton, and then Grimo, who is still at the beginning of sector 3. Big gap, as you can see, to the third man. Grimo will have 5 seconds of celebration. So a Felipe Massa Brazil moment for him. He was a few seconds world champion, and that's the same time that Grimo will be the podium setter. Congratulations for P3 and congratulations to P3 now to Zatsanbad. Grimo 4th, Optics will finish in 5, and Deroy goes here wide into the what is it? The normal traffic lanes here of the Hanoi City circuit. He will be the last one to finish, and he needs to finish. We will have to wait for him. Let's sit on his shoulder and wait while wait for him to bring his wrecked car here through the last sector. Everyone else is finished. All eyes on the damaged Red Bull. Yeah, congratulations again to Turamba. Great race. Very clean race. errorless race for him. And so he increases his gap in the overall standings against Fatih, who did not finish, and Lewis Hamilton, who finished second. He will then be second in our overall standings too. And De Roy, ironically just the one who we had to wait so long to finish the race, is the driver of the day. Here the in flying, in hopping champion of race 2 number. Congrats again. And some digital version of champagne for our top 3. So here's the final result after penalties for our very small but tidily racing grid. Turambar has won in front of Lewis Hamilton and Satsanpat. Grimo then ranked into 4th. 5 goes to Optic, 6 for De Roy, 7 the Extremist, 9 Tantun, P8 for Tantun, P9 for Andrew Mont, P10 Super Steve, P11 Ned Craig, 12 for Krobi, 13 Gary. The only one who did not finish was Fatih in a totally safety car free race. Very interesting. I did not expect that, especially here in Hanoi. So this is the end of our Vietnam race of season 3. I sincerely hope that we will have a little bit better starting grid, maybe even a full grid next time when the RRC returns. We will then be at guest in Shanghai, in China, for the next race. The RRC will return next Monday evening, round about 7:50 p.m. of UK time, here on my channel. I'm Zeb Bauer, glad you were with us for this evening, and until next Monday, thanks for being with us. Have a good evening, stay safe in these times, and keep racing.